Okay, hello everyone. So I'm going to show you now how I deconstruct a brief. So you get your student booklet and it's in digital format. Your teachers might print them off for you, but this is available digitally. So I'd advise you have a look at the digital book. You can download that. And so if I just scroll down, we're going to look at brief one. And so far every year, there's always been a radio audio style brief. Now, it might be that you're doing a website brief, but one of the requirements is to have an audio feature like a podcast or a radio. In this case, it's actually an advert, but it is a radio advert, so it's just audio. And I'm going to show you how to deconstruct that brief. So here we go. First of all, we look at the actual brief itself. That is it. It's very easy to get sidetracked with all the rest of this information that I've often seen my own students break away from the actual point of the brief and forget what they're trying to do. We are creating 3 40 to 60-second radio adverts for a national chain of restaurants. And also, just to be really clear, whenever AQA say these times, if they say approximately 60 seconds, that means you've got a bit of give and take either side. If they say maximum of 60 seconds, that means if it goes 61 seconds, you will not be marked for that extra second. They cut it off. If they say a minimum of 60 seconds, it has to be at least 60 seconds to meet the minimum requirements. So they are very stringent on these areas. So you should really aim to stick to these exactly. Okay, so I like to use a website called MindMup, and it's free, it's online, and it's really, really simple. So I can double click on here and I can paste that in. There it is. Create 3 40 to 60-second radio adverts. And all I do then is I start to flat pack this information. So each advert targets a different audience. Let's just have a look at that one. And so up here I've got child node and sibling node. So this is just how you branch off from things. So there we go. Each advert will target a different audience. Let's get those audiences in there. So we've got families with young children. And then we've got couples of any age. So I'm going to use a sibling node here. And then we've got older teenagers, aged 14 to 19. Okay. And then the campaign should focus on visiting the restaurant, how this will make the audience feel, and it can serve any style of food. In other words, it can be any restaurant, but it should be a national chain of restaurants. So it's important to do a bit of research and figure out what they actually are. What are the national chains? What do they look like? Because although we're looking at niche audiences here, we're not quite so niche that it's just a random restaurant. It is still a national chain, so they're still after a mass audience. They've just broken their audience down into 3 niche sections. Okay, so let's come over to the minimum requirements. Common format and style. That means that you can't have 3 completely different, unrelated adverts. So that's important to know. Different aspect of the restaurant's appeal and related to a different audience. So that's what that bit said anyway. So these are here the audio codes, things that you have to do. So the name of the restaurant chain, 25 seconds of voice, 2 different voices. And I would recommend that you break these down and that you add them. So common format and style, I think, means that all of them having these things is common. And that gives you a format and style if you do it in the same way. So if you construct your media so that they all start with the name, they all have the same 25 seconds of voice at the same section, they all have the same jingle maybe the voices are the same voices, maybe they're not, I don't know. I don't want to be too prescriptive because I think what's really nice about these briefs is it allows you to be creative. It allows you to go a little outside of those sort of stereotypical expectations. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just adding them in, and I'm just gonna slap one more in there. Right, so I haven't fully deconstructed the brief, just to try and keep this short and sweet really, otherwise the video will be a bit too long. But basically, once you've unpacked your brief, you're then in a really good position to start to explore the brief, and that will be the next video. So come back and have a look at the next video, which is then exploring